Oh, hi. Okay, so my name is Casey Clark, and today we have the session of research, intersectionality, and developing solutions. Okay, so and I'll just introduce myself. I am the faculty ED&I&W lead for the Faculty of Science and Engineering. Yeah, we have lots of great presenters today, and we'll get started with the first one. So Professor Maximus is a full professor in the Department of Educational Psychology at the University of Johannesburg and the director of the Center of Neurodiversity at UJ, where he leads research, teaching, and community engagement in inclusive education and neurodiversity studies. His work focuses on inclusive education, disability studies, neurodiversity, career development, and transitions, and social justice in educational contexts. Okay, so I will leave it to you, Professor, to speak. Let me just click off of that. And you can hear us okay?
Yes, I do hear you. Can you hear me?
How's the sound, or should I turn it up? Okay. All right, you can start.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, colleagues, and apologies for the glitches, but this is part of our world today. I have been introduced, and I welcome this opportunity wholeheartedly. My talk today is going to be about advancing research in neurodiversity through the Ubuntu paradigm. I will try as much as possible not to be too academic, but to be practical, to share experiences that we have had at the University of Johannesburg under the Center for Neurodiversity. What it looks like my slides are not moving. Not sure what is going on. Okay, moves. Okay. Right. I am the director of the Center for Neurodiversity at the University of Johannesburg. This is what you see in front of us. This is one of the 3 centers of excellence that were established under the funding of the Department of Higher Education and Training of South Africa, as well as the European Union. The center is known as a national hub and a center of excellence. We started as an entity that was on the website. It was a net-based center for quite a long time until we were supported by these 2 entities to establish a physical center where people could walk in. And for us, luckily, the center is situated at our Soweto campus deliberately so that it can be easily accessible to the surrounding community, as well as reaching out to the entire nation. Why the philosophy of Ubuntu? Interestingly, South Africa does not own the philosophy of Ubuntu. This is an African philosophy, which comes from a context. My slides are now stuck. I don't know how. Sorry. Which come from a context of what we see as the Bantu speaking people. Bantu languages, there are several of them, but as you can see from this map of Africa, all that is in blue, the Bantu people pertain to that particular part. It's a huge chunk, as you know, far up as above, you know, the Sahara Desert, but it stretches down below again towards where South Africa is. So this is a culture. This is where from the philosophy of Ubuntu emerges. For us, it is important that we are seen as the people who recognize one another. The motto that has been used over time is that I am because we are. This is an Akani cycle of children where now it depicts the fact that we are all equal. We are all acceptable. Within this cycle, nobody can claim that they are above one another. This is the spirit within which, when we look at the issues of neurodiversity, we want to embrace neurodiversity from the perspective of Ubuntu. Now, this gives us an impetus to enter the space from home to school and to the world of work. We use the blackboard as part of our identity, where the family becomes important, but we are saying that the neurodivergent learners equally must transition from home, that is from the family, through school, but ultimately be supported like anybody else to enter the world of work. This is where the problem currently is, and we would like this model from the Ubuntu paradigm to be developed and to be used in schools, in communities, wherever that people are, wherever people are, so that we begin to embrace the togetherness. We begin to embrace the fact that we want to understand the issues of neurodiversity together. When we look at it as a paradigm from a philosophical lens, it gives us a plethora of things that we have to concentrate on. But most importantly, we are attracted, as we link it to Ubuntu, by the fact that neurodiversity is a natural and valuable form of human diversity. It does not say to us that one is better than the other. That's why I started with the Akani cycle of the children you saw. This allows us to think of neuro-inclusion as important for us. This is part of the slides that I presented during the G20 that was held here in South Africa. And as we can see, the first thing is to strive towards understanding that neurodivergent identity. It is important that we understand people so that we can embrace them, so that we can be able to support them with understanding. And then also using neurodiversity affirming practices that will help us to include instead of excluding. It is important that for us, inclusion is not only at the philosophical level. Last year, one of the fathers of children with neurodiversity, this is a group of men who have come together and formed this body. They call themselves the neurodiversity, the fathers of neurodiversity, of children with neurodiversity tribe. They christened themselves that way. And you can see, even in their logo, Ubuntu is important because the young men that you are seeing, they decided to form a cycling group for neuro-inclusion. What this does is that it opens up the horizons of the young people, where when they would be in the homes, confined in their spaces, this cycling allows them to be able to talk to others, to be able to see how others comport themselves, to be able to interact. And being in this game allows them the space also to form friendships, which are very important. This is a group that was formed by one of the fathers of children with neurodiversity. And we are proud that it is, in a way, including the children, even some of those who are not necessarily in school. We do have support from others. This is a doctor, the man in blue with this two youngsters here. This is who offers services gratis to our students at the University of Johannesburg. They come for their oral health, and he really has been supporting us over the years. The name is Dr. Waja, and all of our neurodivergent students get free services from his surgery. And we do also are cognizant of the principles of Ubuntu, which from the examples that we see, we respect neurodivergent people. We consider them also having dignity that we must uphold, and we must, work in solidarity to advance their livelihoods like everyone else. And we work with compassion also, as well as striving towards under the career transitioning lenses to help them towards their survival. As one of the parents asked a question at one point, she said, I wonder what will happen to my child when I am no more. So we try by all means to try and support. This is a model that we have developed, which looks at the issues of the Ubuntu research paradigm from an Afrocentric perspective. If you look at what we have here, we have Boto or Ubuntu paradigm canons. This is to juxtapose the Euro-Western perspective of paradigm from the ontological, epistemological, and axiological perspective. We, on the other hand, focus on people's experiences, because reality for us, which is the so-called ontology, yes, it's there, it is our reality, but we focus more on people's experiences so that they can tell their stories, and together we begin to support one another. Another thing is the structure of knowledge, which again is known in the global north as epistemology. For us, that structure of knowledge is important because it emerges from the ground. It emerges from the communities. It is the communities that will advise us when we say somebody is neurodivergent. What does that mean? And therefore, we find ways of supporting them so that we ultimately, if we juxtapose again with axiology, try to find justice and harmony in terms of how we treat our neurodivergent people. In terms of the practical experiences, we have been conducting several trainings for practitioners. You have your OTs, your, all types of professionals. We conduct these trainings so that we have a similar understanding of what we mean by neurodiversity from our perspective. We also do have radio shows, and you can see again the parents. These people are on the round table. They heard over radios, about the work that we are doing. So we are able to reach them, and they come to our center and we conduct trainings for them, as well as teachers. We don't leave teachers behind because they are important. So we advance this research in neurodiversity by holding hands also with our fellow Africans from other countries. As we can see, we have Zambia, we have Tanzania, Kenya. We had this doctor from Tunisia who also, is helping us. We have someone from Uganda, Lesotho, Swaziland, as well as Nigeria. We are trying to make inroads within the African continent so that our voices begin to be heard across the continent, not necessarily focusing on South Africa. But over and above that, we promote research through raising awareness, through publications. Quite recently, an African Association of Neurodiversity was formed. And after the association, now the African Journal of Neurodiversity is taking place. We also try and have publications. This man here is the postdoctoral fellow under the Center for Neurodiversity, who has edited this book, co-edited this book on career coaching and employability, and as well as acquisition skills. This is where we find that there are gaps in terms of how we deal with the neurodivergent people, but we want to advance knowledge and generate knowledge from our context. He comes from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and together with another colleague of his, they started to form a neurodiversity research group under the auspices of the Center for Neurodiversity at the University of Johannesburg. This is how, again, we strive to disseminate research, to build entities that will help us to talk about research and go ahead and do something about it. This is a group of fathers that I was referring to. My slides are jumping. Please forgive me for that. Let me start here. This is a group of fathers that I referred to. These are men who are raising their children, and instead of running away and saying, this is not me, this is not about my family, and I'm not interested, we try and encourage one another so that ultimately the children get the support that they deserve. Our wonderful Vice Chancellor, Professor Tlhokwamphedi, who is in a black suit, and his beautiful wife in yellow, have started under the Center for Neurodiversity at the University of Johannesburg, the Mpedi Family Scholarship for Studies in Neurodiversity. And the young people with them were the first recipients of the scholarship. This is the living example of Ubuntu for us. Instead of talking about it at the philosophical level, we find that Professor Mpedi has really gone out of his way. He funds this scholarship out of his own pocket. And these people were the first cohort. They have already graduated. It's a one-year master's degree in which they are tasked with researching any condition under neurodiversity of their own choice. So at least we can point to the fact that research is ongoing. One of the conditions is that from their master's degrees, they also publish articles over and above the dissertations that they would have produced. This is one of the second cohort student who has also done a lot of research in terms of neurodiversity. She has trained so many parents. She is in Zimbabwe, but studying with us at the University of Johannesburg. These are just but examples of some of the products, the published journals that we have produced from this exercise in terms of promoting research in neurodiversity. A lot of people are contributing here, and we strive towards getting knowledge production from our own context. And this is part of what we are can share with you. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, my apologies about the glitches at the beginning. At this stage, this is the end of my presentation, and thank you very much for your attention. But over and above all, thank you so much for inviting us to be part of this most important step that you are taking as the university, as well as the city of Liverpool. Thank you so much.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, so we have a bit of time left in your set before we switch over. So is there anyone in the room that has maybe a question at all? Great, okay. Is that okay, Professor?
Yes, go ahead, please. Go ahead, please.
Hi, thanks for your inspiring talk, Antje Glück from University of Liverpool. Just a question, if you're reaching out with this new, I really liked your approach, by the way, with the linking Ubuntu and neurodiversity. I have absolutely not thought about that, but I also work on Global South and de-Westernization, so that's actually a very natural thing to do. Thank you for this inspiring idea. My question to you is simply, have you reached out to European partners to maybe do a collaboration in terms of also de-Westernization, decolonizing approach towards neurodiversity and understanding of neurodiversity? Or is that a plan you're doing? And if yes, with what kind of partners would you think you could work?
Thank you so much. I think you should be the first one, my sister, to hold hands with us. Please get in touch so that we can start the ball rolling. However, the plan is that in November, I think we will be visiting Manchester, and the University of Johannesburg belongs to what is known as the U21 network. This is the universities around the world. I think you can call them the league of universities. The University of Johannesburg is the only one in Africa. So we will be participating in the conference there. But my plan, if all goes well, is to visit, first of all, Liverpool, and then from there, Birmingham and Warwick. I think there's some interest there. And we are trying to reach out to colleagues so that we can really develop a network. And what would be important is that once we establish collaborations, we can have student exchanges and as well as faculty exchanges. You know, people can come to our side, we can go to their side, exchange, and also we are big in terms of COIL, in terms of trying to link up with other universities over and above those that are in Africa, so that we are not navel gazing at it as it is, but widening our horizons so that we reach out to the like-minded colleagues across the world.
All right, so thank you so much. I think we're going to move along, okay, Professor Maximus? All right,
thank you so much.
Thank you for joining, and we're going to have to switch to another program now, so we're going to say goodbye. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye, bye-bye, good night, bye-bye, bye-bye.